Do you believe in saints? A savior? An angel? But what if that saint didn't come to save anyone? What if his presence changed every member of your family forever? The father, the mother, the son, the daughter, even the housemaid. Sounds like an exploitation film? Not at all. This is an art house masterpiece, a haunting allegory that was condemned by the Catholic Church, seized by Italian authorities, and brought to court on charges of obscenity. This is Teorema, the most shocking film of 1968 by the visionary director Pier Paolo Pasolini. Today we're going to explore the controversial and taboo elements hidden within this remarkable work, but we'll do so through the lens of cinema, philosophy, and symbolism. Because Teorema is not pornography, it is a philosophical equation about the emptiness of the bourgeois class, about the sacred and the profane, about liberation and destruction. Let's begin. The story of Teorema unfolds in an affluent suburb of Milan, Italy. At its center is a model bourgeois family, representing the pinnacle of material success in post-war Italy. The father Paolo is a wealthy industrialist who owns a large factory. Powerful, respected, financially secure. His wife Lucia is elegant and refined, yet beneath her graceful appearance lies a deeply frozen soul. They have two children, Odetta, a shy and withdrawn daughter, and Pietro, a sensitive young man with artistic ambitions, but profound uncertainty about his place in the world. Finally, there is Emilia, the family's quiet and devoted housemaid. From the outside, they appear to have everything: money, status, respectability, a perfect life. Yet Pasolini carefully reveals a different reality. Through long silences, static compositions, and sparse dialogue, he exposes a family living almost like machines. There is no genuine connection between them, no true passion, and most importantly, no spiritual depth. They exist within the rigid structures of bourgeois society, measuring happiness through wealth and social standing. They believe they are at peace, but in reality, they are merely the calm surface of a lake before an approaching storm. And then the storm arrives, in the form of a young stranger, an unexpected guest, a man with no clear identity, no known past, no real explanation for his presence. He is portrayed by Terence Stamp with a beauty that feels both angelic and strangely unsettling. At this point, the film enters a realm of allegory and mystery. The stranger harms no one. In fact, he is gentle, attentive, compassionate. He listens, he understands, and through an almost supernatural charisma, he forms a profound bond with every member of the household, a connection that transcends ordinary relationships and deeply transforms their lives. First Emilia, the servant, the lowest-ranking person in the social hierarchy, then Pietro, then Lucia, then Odetta, and finally Paolo himself, the patriarch, the powerful head of the family. Pier Paolo Pasolini was one of the most controversial filmmakers in cinematic history. He was a poet, a novelist, a critic, a Marxist intellectual, and an openly gay man living in the conservative Italy of the 1960s. Pasolini despised the bourgeois class. He saw them as spiritually empty, artificial, and hypocritical, and Teorema became his declaration of war against that world. Yet he does not use controversial themes merely to provoke. Within Pasolini's cinematic language, human connection functions as a profound metaphor. The mysterious guest is not a sinner, he represents the sacred itself, a supernatural force. Perhaps God, perhaps an angel, or perhaps a symbol of humanity's deepest truths. For people imprisoned within the glass cage of wealth, convention, and social expectations, the stranger's presence acts like a powerful electric shock. For the first time in their lives, they experience genuine human connection, authentic emotion, and a deeper sense of purpose. And the masks they have worn for years begin to fall away. But Pasolini's theorem does not end with awakening. The true tragedy begins with the second part of the equation, absence. Just as suddenly as he arrived, the stranger receives a telegram and leaves, without warning, without explanation. His departure creates an unbearable void within each character. Once a person has seen sunlight, it becomes impossible to return comfortably to darkness. Once someone has touched the sacred, ordinary life can suddenly feel meaningless. And so the entire structure of this bourgeois family begins to collapse. Each person seeks escape in a different and increasingly extreme way. Look at how they confront the emptiness left behind. Odetta descends into complete psychological paralysis. She withdraws from the world, refuses communication, and is eventually placed in a psychiatric institution. For her, nothing in the world seems worth seeing or touching anymore. Pietro turns to art. He desperately tries to recreate what he once experienced. He throws himself into painting, yet his work becomes chaotic and frustrated. He realizes that conventional artistic expression cannot contain the infinite experience he has encountered. Lucia loses the elegance that once defined her. She wanders through the city searching for meaning and emotional fulfillment, desperately trying to recover a sense of purpose she once believed she had found, but she never finds it. Emilia, however, experiences a completely different fate. As the only member of the working class, she returns to her rural village. She sits silently in a courtyard, consumes only earth to survive, and gradually becomes a saint-like figure, performing miracles before astonished villagers. Through Emilia, Pasolini seems to suggest that only souls untouched by bourgeois corruption can transform suffering into genuine spiritual power. Now let's talk about the film's legendary ending. It remains one of the most discussed endings in the history of Italian cinema. The father, the symbol of the bourgeois class, abandons his wealth, his status, his possessions, everything. He appears alone in a vast, barren landscape. No power, no money, no family, no social identity, nothing remains. And then he screams into the endless emptiness. That scream can be interpreted in many different ways. A cry of liberation, a cry of despair, or the moment a human being finally confronts his true self. Pasolini offers no answer. He leaves the decision to us. And that is precisely why Teorema continues to resonate today. Because this film is not merely about Italy in 1968. It is about all of us, about the things we believe in, about the masks we wear every day, and about what happens when someone enters our lives and forces us to face who we truly are. Teorema is not an easy film, but if you appreciate symbolic cinema, philosophical storytelling, and works that challenge society's deepest assumptions, this is an experience you are unlikely to forget. And perhaps, after watching it, you may find yourself asking the same question that audiences have debated for decades. Who was the mysterious guest? A man? A god? Or simply a mirror reflecting the truths we spend our lives trying to hide?